What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Dave Sturchio, one of the co-owners of Fight Factory Wrestling, back here once again with our Fight Factory Premier Champion, Danny Maff, but this time he's not alone. Maff, I thought we had a fantastic conversation a couple weeks back, really pulled on the heartstrings. A lot of people got to know the real Danny Maff, and I thought that would have been sufficient to build up to this massive title for title NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship match with the Fight Factory Premier Wrestling Championship match. Title for title, everybody, winner take all. I thought we painted a good picture, and I think the response has been great.
Absolutely.
When I got up off the desk, I had a text message waiting from one Josh Shernoff. Now, me and Josh, it's pretty apparent. Everybody knows we're the best commentating team in the business, right? We have
hands down,
without question. But your text to me was a little off-putting. I wasn't really expecting it. You said, "Great feel-good story, but now can we actually get to business?" What exactly did you mean? Like, we thought we painted a great picture, but you basically have a totally different perspective when it comes to this championship match.
First of all, you did paint a great picture. I loved it. If people haven't watched it, they should go and they should watch it, because that was a true aspect of who Danny Maff is. And he spoke from his heart about what this means to him, this match at Fight Factory Wrestling for the NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship, and of course, defending the Fight Factory Premier Championship. What I wanted to touch base on was why this matters so much to us. And I say us because I've said this in the past. Our careers are now intertwined. But I want to make something abundantly clear as I'm speaking here on behalf of myself and Danny Maff. Danny Maff does not need a mouthpiece at all.
Clearly.
He doesn't need that. I consider myself a strategist for Danny Maff, a strategist for Sean Donovan, sent to slaughter. But not because they're two gorillas who can't think for themselves and can't speak for themselves. They don't need me as much as I need them. That's something that needs to be said. Okay, that's why I wake up every single morning and think to myself, what can I do for Danny Maff's career? What can I do for Sean Donovan's career? Because for me, what I can do is what I think I do better than anybody in this entire business. And that's talk on this microphone. That's be a manager, if that's what you want to say. I can lend that to them. Not that they necessarily need it, but to compound on what they already have. So that's what I'm here for. What I want to do now is help you paint another picture.
And what's that?
Thom Latimer. I am a fan of Thom Latimer. He has an incredible look, incredible work ethic. I respect him. Unfortunately for Thom Latimer, he happens to be NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion at the same time that Danny Maff gets his first shot at the NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship.
So you're saying, like, just right place, right time, or wrong place, wrong time?
Wrong place, wrong time for him. That's it.
I mean,
people want this to be personal between Maff and Latimer. And there were a couple things. Latimer tried a few digs when we were on stage.
Yeah,
together.
so you Square Circle Expo.
Circle Expo. I was hired to run an NWA panel, not by the NWA, because they wouldn't know talent if it smacked them in the mouth, but I was hired by Squared Circle Expo, and I ran that panel. And the entire time that I did that, what I saw was Thom Latimer sitting there with that NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship on his lap. Dave, you're a belt guy like me. Sure. Bit of a belt mark, right?
Yeah,
we
why
love
not?
it. We love the way a championship belt looks, the way it feels in our hands, right? As I sat there and I looked at that 10 pounds of gold, I realized that professional wrestling has taken that love away from me, that love of a championship belt. Because every time I see a champion, every time I see somebody carrying a championship belt, and I'm not talking about the marks walking around with the belt that they bought at the concession stand, I'm talking about when I see a guy like Thom Latimer, it makes me angry. Because I look at that championship and I say, you're not a real champion, because Danny Maff has not had an opportunity at that championship yet.
Well, just to play devil's advocate, I mean, Thom Latimer has had some really, really impressive title defenses along with winning the damn thing. So
great title defenses.
So, but
excellent.
I don't know. I think it's a little off-putting to say that he's only champion right now because Maff, and again, Maff, you know me, I don't want to say I'm rooting for you because it's our championship and a great opportunity for Fight Factory. But at the same time, for you to basically paint Thom Latimer as a paper champion, a placeholder, rather.
Hey,
that's
your words, not mine.
Nah,
Listen, no, what I'm saying about Thom Latimer is this. Thom Latimer, anyone would be proud to have him represent their company. What I'm saying is he is not a true champion in my eyes until he has successfully defended that championship against Danny Maff. I am so sick and tired of seeing these things like a PWI 500 without Danny Maff's name on it. You're telling me that that's 500 people in professional wrestling that are better than Danny Maff?
I don't agree with that at all. No.
Absolutely not. So when I see somebody walking around as a champion, no disrespect to him, but he is not a true champion until he has successfully defended that championship against Danny Maff. And I don't blame Thom Latimer. And that's the thing. I know everybody wants in professional wrestling, they want it to be, this is personal, Thom Latimer. You wronged us. And it's not that. It's not that at all. It's personal between us and the NWA. It's personal with Billy Corgan. Thom Latimer's never fought somebody like a Danny Maff. Namely because there's nobody else like Danny Maff. But he's never done that. It's not his fault. That was planned by Billy Corgan to never give him the...
Now, look, we had this conversation in our sit-down about how Billy did not call him back. He's one of those guys that, and for any promoter who doesn't call Danny Maff back, he channels that, and that's cool, man. I'm with that. I understand it because myself, Josh, in this line of work, there have been plenty of people that said no, right? Or plenty of people who just haven't answered at all, right? But what I will say is, for you to come on here today... I don't know. I just feel like to attack Billy for not having, Maff is Maff.
Say it. For not having the balls.
I didn't say that at all.
No, because here's what happened. Danny Maff was in the NWA. You know what happened? When he was there, what was it, twice? You were there 2 times. You know what they saw? They saw a guy that could run the entire company. They saw a guy who could come in there, win any and all championships that the NWA had. And you know what? Like I said before about Thom Latimer, he is, the way he's built, the way he looks, the way he moves in the ring, this guy is a champion. This is who you want, right? That's who everybody wants. They don't want Danny Maff. But they know if Danny Maff shows up, he's the new NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion. So they keep him away. Just like with NWA called me, okay? They called me and asked me if I wanted to help them out, not a full-time job, but if I would help them out because somebody couldn't make it to a show. And they wanted me to hold a microphone, not for myself, not to do color commentary, not to speak, not to be anything other than how about that match tonight, and hold a microphone up to somebody. Because they look at me the way they look at Danny Maff. And that's as somebody who, if they come in, is going to disrupt what they want, their vision of it. Now, thanks to you, we're now going to have the opportunity to disrupt that vision.
Well, it's funny you'd mention that because I remember, it was a show up North Jersey. You were there representing Danny Maff. He was going into a cage match against Crowbar. And referee Kevin Keenan is their senior official. And he had approached me, and you were standing pretty much in the vicinity of where I was standing. And he asked, who do you have lined up for Danny Maff for War on the Shore 2? And I said, I gave him a couple names. I said, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking this. And Kevin Keenan was the one that said, well, why don't we do Thom Latimer? And I said, well, he's the champ, so it wouldn't make any sense. He goes, title for title. And I couldn't say yes fast enough, but before I did that, I look over to my left and I see the shit-eating grin on your face, as if you almost, this was the moment. This was your green light for Danny Maff to be unleashed on NWA territory, rather. And I can't, again, you present that opportunity to Maff. I went up to Maff and I said, hey, this is the opportunity. And it's almost as if it was looking in a mirror with you because he gave me the same shit-eating grin that you did. Where is this confidence coming from? I understand that Maff has had a historic career. He's had a great run so far.
Where is this confidence coming from? This is where this confidence comes from. I have the easiest job in the history of professional wrestling. My job is to hype, or at least an aspect of my job, is to hype Danny Maff. Do you have any idea how easy that is? I don't have to sit there and go, oh God, how can I come up with what's something that I could sell people on him? How can I make him seem tough? You know how I make him seem tough? You look at him. That's it. That's how I make him seem tough. You look at him and you realize that he is the toughest guy that is going to step into the ring that day.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't able to really peel back the curtain too much on that match because I knew that there was going to be a time and a place for that. And obviously, I couldn't even get to my phone fast enough where you said, here's the time and the place. Be at your studio in Mattawan, in New Jersey, because I have something to say. And this is why the time is being granted. But I look at Maff as a guy that I know for a fact. I'm not, I wasn't born yesterday. I've been following Maff. I sent him a text this morning with a screenshot that read, tonight I get to sit down with Danny Maff on my podcast. You know what year that was? That was 2014. And I said to Maff, I've been interviewing you my entire career, right? So I know what the man's capable of, right? But I feel like there's a little bit more of if my NFL fans out there, feels like a trap game, and I don't want it to be that way. A trap game is when you look past your opponent to the next thing. You're crowning him right now as champion. You got to do it first. You can't just,
Yes, but don't misunderstand confidence for cockiness. The other part of my job, I mentioned one part of it is hyping Danny Maff. The other part, I like to consider myself a strategist, where I work with Danny Maff to figure out the best method for him to walk out with a championship, him to walk out with the win, with the bag, right? That's what my job is here. We are not looking past Thom Latimer. We're looking at the bigger picture.
Which is fair.
The bigger picture is we need this more than he does. See, in his mind, Thom Latimer sees this as, okay, well, I'm gonna defend my championship. I'll go off to Canada and defend it here. Then I'm gonna defend it there. Okay, I'll come to the Jersey Shore. I'll defend my championship. Then I'll go back to here and defend it. That's what he's seeing. He is not seeing what this is for Danny Maff and what this is for me, personally. I said before, nobody wants Danny Maff in this business. They need him, absolutely need him, but they don't want him. They fear him. Danny Maff becomes NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion. You mentioned before, the phone calls, the rejections, the lack of answering a call, the lack of answering a text, the ghosting by promoters. That doesn't happen when you're NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion. That doesn't change his talent. It doesn't change what he brings to the table. It's just the thing that these people, these promoters need, these carnies who just all they want is something that they think is going to get them over. And I get that. That's fine. But that's why we need this. Because the NWA, as I said before, they're afraid of Danny Maff. But when he's World's Heavyweight Champion, it doesn't matter if they're afraid. He's going to be there. We're looking forward to it. Roku, the Roku channel, Danny Maff on Roku. That's fantastic.
I said it was a great move for the world of professional wrestling, independent wrestling, or the people that I don't want to consider NWA the little engine that could because they're still chugging along, but because of their lineage. But right now, yeah, they're on the rise. Now I got to turn this to you for a second, Maff, because we talked about in our sit down, we talked about how when you and Monster Mac used to walk into locker rooms, the temperature changed, right? That's a little bit of a temperature change. I feel like we spoke 2 weeks ago. The temperature has changed already with you. I feel like something went off, and I'm not sure what got lost in translation, or were there too many feel-good comments coming in from our sit-down? Were people taking you too lightly, too nice? Like, do you care to elaborate your demeanor right now as opposed to what it was 2 weeks ago, man? Like, what happened? Like, I don't understand. You didn't say hello when you walked in. You said, where am I sitting? You know what I mean? Like, something changed, and I'm trying to figure out what it was.
How many days left?
As we sit here right now, as we record this, we are 34 days away from the War in the Shore 2.
34 days. 34 days. Thomas Latimer. 34 days. Until I bust open onto Fight Factory Wrestling in perfect fighting condition. Let's not make no mistakes about it. I respect the wrestler, Thom Latimer. I respect who he is. I respect what he's done. But in 34 days, it's time to eat. It's time to eat, motherfucker. It's time to take the chain off the beast. Let me loose on the NWA champion. I told you, ass. I told you, and I told you, Billy Corrigan, don't sleep on me. I'm being direct. I'm being as direct as I can be. This right here, that revolves around one name, one person. This person right here. I'm the only human being to ever hold that. Were you holding on? They're 10 pounds of gold. Dusty Rhodes. Harley Race. Wahoo McDaniel. It's names like that. Now, you ain't gonna have a choice but to say, Danny Maff. Say it again. Danny Maff. I'm on chains. You've heard it here first. I was calm 34 days until you get to dance with the devil himself. Because make no mistake about it, when I come to the Jersey Shore, I'm coming to take your title. I'm coming to leave with mine. I'm coming to make history. History! And point blank, I'm coming to bite your face off! Now, Shernoff, let him know what time it is. I said what I had to say. Dave, put your money on the champ. I'm gonna make you proud. I'm gonna make all these proud of Jersey. I'm the next NWA champion. Tell him, Josh.
You asked a question about where our confidence comes from.
Yeah, no, that'll. Yeah, we're gonna
sleep on me.
All right.
You never call me back. You ain't gonna have a choice. Because now I'm gonna run the damn table.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, heard it from the Fight Factory Wrestling champion himself.
Let's go.
In just under a month, we have ourselves title for title. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in. Josh, best of luck taming this animal. And we'll see you guys in the Jersey Shore. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you can. Yeah, we got
Big problem. Danny Maff, 300 pounds. Deal with it.